What is one thing you would want to say to educate people about mental health?
Something to help with the stigma? Most people don't see mental illness until it has manifested itself outwardly. You know, the homeless guy yelling at a trash can type of thing. Realize that you are looking at the extreme end. Thinking that is what mental illness is like thinking someone with 90% of their skin scorched off is what a burn looks like. Exactly this. I'm the life of the party and a big happy noisy boss at work. When I come home I get straight into bed and stay there until I absolutely must get out again. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar and some sort of personality disorder. I've spent 20 years tweaking medication and doing therapy and trying really hard. I'm very lucky to have what I do given what I'm dealing with, and I certainly look mentally well. But it takes all my energy to live half of an ordinary life. Just curious, what advice do you have for someone who is trying to find energy to live at least half of ordinary life? How are you able to just switch on when you are outside and other people? I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with me mentally, but at the same time I want to appear okay to other people / not let it affect work / studies / relationships until I figure it all out. A hot fix, if you might call it. Not OP, but I will give you my somewhat new trick to de-escalate anxiety when it kicks in. I think of myself as an ant. One day I was watching ants in a video when one ant just stopped working. It was like it tetanized for unexplained reasons. All the other ants kept doing what they were doing, all working or going somewhere except for that freezed ant. That's when I had this connection with this ant. I don't know exactly what happened, but I felt insignificant like an ant. Uniquely reacting to wrong chemistry in my brain, nothing more nothing less. Now when I start feeling overwhelmed or irritated I try to go back to this ant and the feeling of non-importance in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, I don't know if this makes sense. It's my way of putting things in perspective. Finally the ant went back to work, and from that I extrapolate. As a mental health therapist who also has anxiety and PTSD many moons ago, I am going to find this video. Sludge in my brain doesn't happen often anymore, but when it does, I have to remind myself that I am just me in a world that will keep moving even if I stop for a minute. It's very comforting to know that the world does not actually require anything of me, all I have to do is exist. Any obligations I put on myself are constructs in my head. Feeling the need to be useful is programming I've received all my life, but sitting quietly and simply breathing is just fine. That's not to say I'm good at it, but it's grounding. Try checking out some of the subs that revolve with getting yourself on track, such as r/productivity or something. It's good to habitualize daily events even. I personally have little reminders for simple things like brushing teeth. There is an app called Habit, and there is a little modicum of happiness from checking off a box for each event. As far as for outward appearance when around everyone else, for me what helps is I tell myself little things as I'm getting ready, like look good, feel good, or smell good, look good, feel good, stupid stuff. If anything, I'll get a chuckle out of myself. The mirror can work wonders. Focus on things you like about yourself. Also, I have a tendency to not want to bother other people or disrupt their lives with what's going on with me. I'll bottle it in, which is unhealthy. Find someone you can talk to and talk. Most important would be to receive professional help. I have yet to do that step minus my initial diagnosis. I tell myself little things as I'm getting ready, like look good, feel good. Every day, when I drive to my shitty ass job, I drive past the one lonely mountain in my entire area. I love mountains. I wish I lived directly in the middle of the White Mountains in New Hampshire. So every day, when I'm driving to my job, where I'm going to have to face down a misogynist boss trying to get me fired on a regular basis, I look off to my left and I say, I saw a mountain today. It can't be a bad day if I've seen a mountain. It's amazing how much that helps. Not OP, but with a similar condition. I used to repeat a lot, turn the sink on and off, switch a light switch, open and close car doors, all of this upwards of a dozen or more times each. In my head I required myself to perform each instance repeatedly until I was okay with it, or it felt right. Otherwise the consequence of not doing it right would have a 100% chance of happening immediately, which would cause extreme anxiety for hours to sometimes weeks. When it came to addressing the root of the repetition, I had to actualize the target of my anxiety, the consequence, and literally ask myself out loud, how does me performing this action affect this? If there wasn't a connection, I had to then actualize my anxiety and confront it. This meant sitting under the ceiling fan if I didn't turn the lights on the correct number of times, removing what I wanted out of the refrigerator even if I didn't open and close the butter tray, washing my hands after turning on the water only one time, and washing them only once. I am happy to report that the fan didn't fall on me, the refrigerator didn't catch on fire, the water has never given me chemical burns, and my hands are still my skin color and not covered in mold. After repeating that process over 3 to 5 years, I identify compulsions quickly and address them, and forcing myself to actualize consequences to my actions has actually helped me learn how to address my anxiety. Realize that you are looking at the extreme end. Thinking that is what mental illness is like thinking someone with 90% of their skin scorched off is what a burn looks like. Damn, that's an excellent analogy. I'm definitely going to use that the next time I find myself needing to explain this to someone. I have moderate depression and generalized anxiety that is now somewhat successfully treated. Meaning I am mostly functioning, but I think I just look lazy and distracted. When I was at the bottom and just before I got my diagnosis, I told my flatmate I thought I might be depressed and she said she doubted it. I was usually so happy. She knew really mentally ill people and I didn't present crazy enough. It still hurts knowing that people don't fully believe I'm sick just because I don't show it enough. This is why I'm very open about it and really like telling people my experience. Because I was never really sad, just very lethargic and uninterested. And that's why I told myself I wasn't sick.
If you have a question, please leave us a comment. We will try to answer you as soon as possible. Share this video and subscribe to our channel.